Hi, my name is Jamie Schmotzer. I just got back from the Central Ohio Bushcraft Gathering, where I had the distinct privilege of meeting Jayberry, the owner of Tuff Possum Gear. Now, if you've ever met him, you will immediately find out that he is a very articulate and well-spoken young man, and that he's quite the deep thinker. I am very blessed to have met him and to be able to call him a new friend. And with that, let's get into the interview. Okay. Wow, you look really little all the way down there.
That is true. Scoot up in here a little bit more parallel.
So we are at the Central Ohio Bushcraft Gathering, and I am with Jayberry. And what's your last name?
Miller.
Miller.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So now I didn't realize this, but Tuff Possum is here in Ohio, and you're actually only like an hour and a half from me. How do you?
Yes, sir.
That's
yes,
crazy. So I first heard of you from Jim Lighty, who's a customer of Tuff Possum, and I met him back in November, and since then, now I'm seeing Anthony Rowe taking pictures for you, and you're gaining a lot more traction, and it's good to see someone as young as Jayberry. How old are you?
21, almost 22.
Is that the most impressive thing? It is. It's impressive, yeah. And you've got quite a story, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what the inspiration for your bags and the work that you do is?
Sure, sure. So the whole, where I really came from is growing up kind of, you know, hiking and camping, that sort of thing. You know, 13, 14, 15-year-old me come to my mom. My mom had sewn private seamstress for many years. And, you know, hey, Mom, can you make me a little pouch? Can you make me a little bag? And projects grew in complication and size. And eventually she said, you know, time for you to start learning to sew your own stuff, right?
Right.
Well, you know, got done to sewing a little bit, started posting up on an online forum, in the, you know, the classifieds and just what I'm doing. And people, you know, hey, I want one, I want one, I want one, right? It just kind of snowballed from there. So I like to, you know, I like to look at a lot of vintage stuff, a lot of, you know, the old, you know, golden age of camping, golden age of modern backpacking kind of era stuff. I like to look at some of the, you know, more modern, you know, design. I like to look at a little bit of, you know, some German industrial design stuff as well.
German industrial designs, like what?
There's a gentleman back in, I'm gonna butcher the date, a few years ago, by the name of Dieter Rams. He worked for Braun. You might know them from the shavers, and well, you may not know them by the shavers. Okay.
I have not cut my hair or shaved since 2012.
Okay. He was quite influential in figuring out what is good design. And you know, he put together about 10 commandments of good design, and one of them is good design is as little design as possible, as needed. Good design is honest. Good design is eco-friendly.
Measure, you know? Twice, cut once.
Yes, yes. And honest, it's not going to, it's an honest, solid piece that's going to do what it promises to do by its very features that it promises.
Well, you know, when I was talking to you yesterday here at the Central Ohio Bushcraft Gathering, you were talking about, and I'm sorry, but I don't remember the words for the stitching that you were talking about.
Overlock stitching or serging?
Serging.
Yes.
So,
and then binding.
And binding.
Yes.
Now, what's the deal with all that?
So, on the inside of a bag, if you have especially with like wax canvas or cotton, I specialize in nylon, that typically has a polyurethane coating on the inside. On a bag that's three-dimensional and there's going to be a lot of abrasion, you know, rubbing up and down and sideways on those seams, you're going to get some fraying, you're going to get the fabric, the edges of the fibers are going to be exposed and wavy in the wind. When you do overlock, it's almost, the best way I know to describe it's a complicated zigzag.
Okay.
If you look on the bottom side of a t-shirt hem, you'll see it kind of a, you know, zigzag pattern.
It's one of the settings on a sewing machine,
yes,
right?
Yes,
There's
and there's specialized machines for it too. And that is a way of capturing those fibers so that they're, you know, locked in together.
And they don't fray. Now, would you call that over-engineering or resigning, or just good standard practice?
That's good standard practice. In the canvas world, that's going to be a very standard thing you're going to find. In the nylon world, you're going to find what's called binding. And that is, I'll see if I can show you here.
This.
Shall I hold up the camera here?
Absolutely.
And that is a thin webbing, about 1 inch wide, sometimes 3/4 inch wide, that is folded over that raw edge and sewn on.
See, when I look at that, I would think, well, that looks like you've gone an extra mile. But I think that your opinion, if I understand it correctly, is that's not an extra mile.
Correct. That's how
it should be.
That's the standard.
That's how it should be. That's the standard.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Well, now that you've gotten this out, this is the satchel.
Yep.
Actually, what's its proper name?
The Shackleton Edc Satchel.
The Shackleton Edc.
Shackleton.
Shackleton. And
yes.
This thing. So I have lots of haversacks. Many of us have lots of haversacks. And I was looking at this yesterday, and what I was most interested in is this buckle, which, watch this. See how easy that was? One-handed, and with one hand, I can easily put it right back in. Now, I don't have good purchase on that, but it's that easy. Comes undone so easily, and I can do, I'm right-handed, so this is a little uncomfortable, but there you go. I mean, and it slides up and down too, right?
Yeah.
This whole buckle.
You can slide up and down, get a little bit of extra space if you really want to.
So if I wanted
to jacket under there,
right?
Yeah.
And you've got one thing that looked a little different than some of the others that I've seen out there. Are these pouches on the side? There's no molly on the outside.
Correct. I wanted to keep it slim. So I'm not a big believer in a lot of little dangly bits. Some people will call it gypsy camp.
If you've seen my videos, I have lots of dangly bits.
And so I went with a couple simple pockets on the outside to stick a folding stove, or I keep some stuff like a lighter, or I think I got some candy bars and some patches on this side to give to friends. Just want to keep a clean aesthetic, so you can go, if you're hiking down whatever trail, good to go. If you're going down Broadway Street, this isn't going to draw undue attention. That's going to make you a target.
So now that was something else that we were talking about yesterday, was the EDC use. It's not just bushcraft gear, it's EDC, but you also, I don't know if it would be an influence, but you have an eye toward the gray man, you have an eye toward not getting hung up on things, you have a, I don't want to say maybe a more sophisticated outlook of what this should be able to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
A good way of summing that up is high speed, low drag.
High speed, low drag.
Yes. Being able to just live your life high speed, low drag. It may be a little bit more minimalist, but not necessarily 100% minimalism, because you do need features and design and items and things in your life, tools. But high speed, low drag, that means you're not going to, a lower friction lifestyle, a lower friction gear, but solidly built, because if it fails you, that's not very low drag. You got a lot of friction in your life because of that.
Well, now, before we get to the inside, the outside, in the back, there's padding, and what's really cool is there's these loops. Now, I know what they're for, but could you tell us why you designed those, where they're at?
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously you can clip your gloves there with the carabiner, you can clip your keys, you can, if you are really, really wanting to do a lot of faster movement with it, you can put a little bit of shock cord or a strap around for a little bit of, waist stabilization strap of sorts. But the main purpose of this is to be able to piggyback it onto a backpack. So stuff your strap underneath the flap there.
We've got these 4 tabs.
Little webbing loops here.
Right.
Yes.
So if you were backpacking, you wouldn't wear this on your shoulder.
Correct.
You would attach it with these loops to the back of the backpack. And then when you get to where you're going, you take it off and you can go out and you've got this.
And going back to urban a little bit, if you're, you know, traveling one bag, this attaches to your carry-on, right? And when you get to your hotel room, ditch your larger bag. This is what you go around to find that good sub.
And I was thinking of backpacking and bushcrafting, and already you're like, wow, wait a minute, this is for travel. It's for,
yes,
right?
yes.
So, all right, now I can't wait to hear you explain what is truly. It's fair to say that it's unique.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So let's open this up and show what really sets this apart from anything else on the market.
Underneath the main flap, you'll find these two storm flaps, some people call them, with a simple side release buckle here, and that is to keep stuff from falling out, stuff from coming in, right?
And I like the buckle much better than Velcro.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's some designs out there that have a square flap.
Yep.
I prefer a little bit more rounded so I can reach past it. I can see what's past it a little bit more in front and back here in the center.
It's still going to keep things together, but it's easier to get in without having to undo it.
Correct, correct. Got my canteen cup.
Well, now wait a second before we go.
Sure.
This is just a little cover, so if the bottom of your canteen cup gets all dirty, you just put it in here. I didn't want to.
There you go.
Just pass you by that because I mean that's
it's a little liner.
Yeah, it's just a liner.
Keeps the crap off the inside of your bag, right?
Right.
On the inside, you'll find a couple more slot pockets.
Sure.
You know, I got my canteen lid, cup lid, and battery pack, and that
and that's just on the other side of the front,
correct?
Right? And there are two pouches, here and here.
If you're into, you know, a flask or like the USGI pilot's flask, that'll fit right in there.
Perfect.
That sort of thing. One of the defining features on this is on the back side here.
Yep.
This is a med pouch we also produce.
Yep.
A little Velcro back trauma kit type thing.
Velcro on the back, and if you could hear that when he pulled it off, where is this being attached to?
There is a large panel of laser cut Velcro on the back here. The First Spear 612 panel, it's a Velcro quarter laminate, so it's not just Velcro, you know, there's some actual strength going on there. And it's laser cut in a Molly or PALS pattern. Now, when I say PALS, that's pouch attachment ladder system. It's a 1 inch high by 3 inch or 1.5 inch wide grid of little slits, or on the outside of the pack,
we'll get a close up on that so everybody can see.
All right.
Yeah.
You often hear people talk about Molly. Molly is a specific set of pack vest pouches belonging to the military. It's interchangeable because the Molly system uses the PALS technology. So this is a PALS grid. A lot of people call it Molly.
So, but now what I'm kind of curious about is how many manufacturers use this laser cut PALS system like that?
There's actually a decent amount of folks out there doing that. This is First Spear's rendition of it. There's a few different ways of doing it. Some folks cut out entire rectangles. I like the little slits, gives you a little more versatility. There's a lot of, I think VanQuest is doing some.
I've seen theirs, right.
Yeah. Vertex is doing just a plain Velcro.
Is Maxpedition doing it yet?
And not the laser cut Velcro. They're doing just a Velcro on the inside of their bag. So a Velcro back pouch like this will also be interchangeable to your backpack.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons I went with Velcro per se. There's some Hill People Gear has this exact panel. They're also partnered with First Spear as a manufacturing partner like we are for some of this stuff. One of the things with the Molly though is if you can clip stuff like a screwdriver, like a pen, like your Leatherman sheath, you know, flashlight, that sort of thing in there. A little bit of shock cord, and you can, you know, put some, you know, tourniquets.
I'm going to get a look coming down into there.
I'll bring that up there.
There we go. And so if you look inside, there's all these slots that you could put your pens and all sort of attachments, but it's also all Velcro.
Correct, correct.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
I keep a patch down here to hand out to folks on the street, you know.
Sure, right.
Some folks, they just use it as a patch peel. Some folks, you know, have a handgun holster clipped in there.
Some people really are into patches, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Did that surprise you?
Yes and no. It came from a military kind of world. It was a thing of. Well, you want me to go into the history of patches a little bit?
Yeah, I would love you to, because
Sure,
you know, for
sure.
me, yeah, there's the military, and also in Boy Scouts, we had all these, you know, patches and badges
Correct,
and all
correct.
that sort of thing. But nowadays, it seems like it's a pretty big thing amongst bushcrafters to be patch crazy.
The idea of a marking to identify yourself and identify your tribe and who you belong to, very ancient thing. You know, you go back to very early days. It was primitive tattoos. It was paint. It was beads.
It was circumcision.
You know, yes, exactly. And so as time progressed, that got to, you know, sewn on, you know, flags and sewn on, you know, unit numbers and name tapes and that sort of thing.
So when you see that patch with the white eagle on it, you know it's 101st Airborne.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And there's the other one for 82nd Airborne, and you can recognize the Special Forces one because of the. I mean, I can recognize
And
all
then
of those.
you go into the
right?
Boy Scouts and you have that. The Velcro portion.
The Arrow of Light, if you went from
Yes.
Weeblos into Boy Scouts,
Yes.
right?
The Velcro portion would come from the military. If you're captured or you're going to find yourself behind enemy lines, you tear off the Velcro, you burn it, you bury it, you get rid of it. Now you're not giving excess information about who you are and all that sort of thing. And so that, I think that's somewhere where the patch thing come from. They turn into what we call morale patches.
Morale patches,
you know,
right.
You get a lot of, you know, funny and crude jokes and a lot of, you know, some actually cool designs too.
There's only, well, okay, so there are 3 patches that I actually am into. Now, we got into patches, but this is cool.
Yeah.
So I really like Malcolm Coder, the Hidden Woodsman. We're both friends with Malcolm. So he's got that smoking rabbit, right?
Yeah.
Which, to me, represents something that is a tribal thing, right?
There's
this
a very
is,
native lore surrounding that.
Yeah, but the bushcraft tribe, I mean, to be prepared, you've got time to sit back and smoke a pipe, right? Which makes sense. But outside of that, ones that indicate that it's a medical kit, that just is a very practical patch. And also the one that indicates blood type is another very practical patch. So that's not like, oh, I'm a patch guy. It's, well, you know, it just makes sense to, this is a, if I were to look in here, okay, so something happened to you, and I busted open your Shackleton Satchel, I immediately I would know. You've got a red bead on here, right? You've got, clearly this, there is no question, right? Now, you didn't use any patches to do that.
Correct.
But a patch can serve the same purpose of identifying something like this is a first aid kit, because this isn't my, you know, my pack, but instantly I can find it because of that.
The universal kind of Red Cross looking symbol.
Absolutely, right. But I think other people also like to support your businesses that they are fans of and want to support, and so they'll rock their patches. And
a way of symbolizing, you know, this is my tribe, this is my community.
It's a very tribal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to say about patches?
I think that's it. That pretty much covers it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So it's a really nice bag.
Thank you.
It's well designed, and I had no idea all of the intricacies of serging and these other, I don't sew, and so, but to realize that this isn't over designed. This is how you think it just should be.
There's a lot of small things that come together to make a good design, but a good design has as little design as necessary. If there's extra stuff going on, it's creating friction. It comes back to that idea of high speed, low drag.
And you've got tight quality control too.
Correct.
I mean, I looked at a bunch of your. In fact, I'm wearing one right now. The belt pouch, and they all looked identical.
For sure.
I mean, how do you get such tight quality control?
For one, you gotta find people who will sew well.
Yeah.
And for the stuff like the belt pouch and the Shackleton that we've partnered with First Spear to produce for us, they're doing quality control. And then, you know, every once in a while something will slip through the cracks. We're doing quality control on top of that. So every piece is looked over. Yup, checking everything out, looking it over, making sure, yes, we're putting our name behind this.
Right.
Because at a certain point, I'm putting my name behind this. I'm putting my credibility behind this product, behind whether this will perform, whether it's an honest design and honest quality.
So what are the products that you've made or you're most proud of?
The Shackleton for one. Another one would be the multi-purpose survival scarf.
Okay, let's talk about that.
All right. It's based on a concept by Morse Kahansky, late Morse Kahansky. He passed away here a few months ago from Alberta, Canada. He had put out a video a number of years ago, and he outlined a survival, what he called a survival scarf. And it was a tube, almost like a pillowcase, sewn out of surplus parachute material, given to him by Tom Roycroft, who was his mentor.
Another huge name in the industry.
Yes.
Right.
He passed away a few months ago as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Soon after Morse, I think it was. And the concept is the layers of ripstop around your neck trap small air bubbles. You don't have insulation there, but what is insulation accomplishing? It's accomplishing dead air space.
Right.
This is acting as the same thing. It's a breathable nylon. You're not going to sweat as much. It's not coated, but it's trapping those little pockets of dead air space. Then he had two sizes. He had a really big size you could crawl in, some mosquito netting and stuff like that. And then he had an extra small size. I wanted a little bit more medium type size. I wanted to make it available to people who didn't necessarily have a sewing machine and an old parachute laying around, you know. So I've come up with this size right here. It seems to me a good scarf size because it is primarily a scarf.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah.
And the orange in there is a brilliant orange.
So one of the things I added that was not on his design is I made the inside bright orange. So turn it inside out. Now you have a signal panel, hunting season. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm not staying out of the woods just because there's a bunch of Amish hunters going blam, blam, blam off in the woods, right? And so, you know, you get that orange going on there.
Right.
You can, you know, gather your pine needles, gather your nuts and your stuff like that.
But you probably wouldn't want to put pine cones in.
Correct. I wouldn't necessarily gather sticks in it. Something, you know, real sharp or pokey that's going, because it is a soft, lighter weight ripstop.
But you could make a nice pillow out of it. You could put clothing in there to make a pillow.
Stuff your puffy jacket.
Will it hold water?
No, it is breathable. Now,
so you wouldn't collect water.
Correct.
Well, you probably could.
You could in theory. It's going to leak out, but you could in theory if you need to just scoop up a bunch and go dump on your fire if it's real close.
But the idea is a very multi-purpose. I mean, this is more as we're talking about. The more you know, the less you carry, guy, right? So
yes. Now, one thing you can do is fill it full of snow, hang it over a pot. You want to make sure it's well away from the fire, so it's not going to get singed, especially being double layer and everything. You don't have being double layer. I'm a little more cautious than single layer, because single layer you'll have a little bit of that, you know, boiling water in a paper bag effect. So, and acts as a snow generator. So the radiant rays from the snow are going to be hitting that bag full of the radiant rays from the fire, I should say.
Right.
They're going to be hitting that bag full of snow and melting it slowly into your pot.
That's cool. So it's just going to drip out the bottom.
Yeah. I would recommend washing that when you first get it.
Yeah.
You know, before you do something like that. But
gentle detergent.
Yes. Preferably natural, maybe some hemp-based cast-style soap or something. Yeah.
Sure. Dr. Bronner's.
Yeah.
Well,
good stuff.
And that's so. You seem to have a particularly interesting. I don't know if your philosophy of use is the right way to put it, but you've got a vision for what you do, and you're trying to make products and design products that are consistent with your vision.
Correct.
So is there, what should we look out for? And what are the things that, 6 months, a year, 6 years from now, where do you want things to go for you?
Well, the biggest question I get over and over and over is when you go into a pack, when you go into a backpack.
Oh.
When you go into a pack.
So Jayberry, when are you going to do a backpack?
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
By the way, I've never been one to ask that because I have lots of backpacks, don't need any more.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I'm sure, ask.
Yes, I have a backpack designed in the rough prototyping stage right now, so probably see that sometime 2021, sometime along their lines.
Any other accessory pouches, or what else are you working on?
One of the things I'm definitely working on right now is some more admin type pouches, Velcro pouches, to Velcro on the inside of the Shackleton.
Yeah.
The backpack will also have a similar panel, same panel on the inside of that.
So for us bushcrafters that aren't all up into the military type stuff, can you tell us what an admin pouch is?
Admin pouch, a small pouch that you would attach to your plate carrier or your backpack, or in this case a satchel. Something to stick your notebook and your batteries and your...
Well, we used to call them pocket protectors.
Yes.
You put your pens.
A glorified pocket protector.
A glorified pocket protector.
Yes.
Yes. But we're going to call it an admin pouch, and yeah.
Yes.
But
something to stick, your Leatherman and some stuff like that more readily accessible than just clipping your whole Leatherman case in there. So. And
the nice thing about the leather cut pals that you have in there is that you can put in admin pouches and all that kind of stuff, and so you're really going off of, in part, being able to utilize that design with other accessories.
Correct. And there are some other companies out there that are producing Velcro-backed pouches as well. Hill People Gear, First Spear, I think Maxpedition is doing some stuff. Van Quest,
right?
Blue Force Gear, I think
the big names in the industry are doing this sort of thing.
Yes. So it's kind of a newer technology, a newer use for Velcro. Last, I'm going to say 6 years or so is when it's really became more prevalent.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything before that.
I'm not a big fan of, like I said, I'm not a big fan of attaching stuff to the outside.
I do it all the time.
But I think it's a very good solution for attaching things to the inside, for organizing the inside of it.
Well, and that's one of my biggest things, is everything being in its proper place, where you don't have to look at night, you don't need to even turn on a flashlight, you know where your stuff is, and you have easy accessibility. And you have design features in this bag, even like the flaps not being, square but rounded, to increase the accessibility.
I really wanted to be able to, reach past here and grab my battery pack without running into the flaps. Or, if someone for some reason wants to carry off-body in their bag, carry a handgun in their bag. Philosophically, I'm not a fan of bag carry, but if they did, you're not going to have that excess material in your way, per se.
Do you mean to say, Jayberry, that you think it should be on your person?
I do.
There you have it. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
I think that's it.
Yeah. So
one last thing. Yeah. We are dedicated to Made in the USA. So
yeah. Okay.
We're using U.S. labor. We're using U.S. materials. We're keeping the supply chain local. Even the production partner that we're using for Spear to outsource some of our stuff. It's in the Missouri Ozarks, down there where my family came from, where my dad grew up, running in the woods, trapping, digging herbs, hunting, fishing. So it's kind of keep it in the lineage, so to speak. Give back to the land and the country that's given me a lot, that's enabled me to do this, because there's a lot of people who can't.
Well, You know, and that kind of, in a way, brings us back to our freedom to be here today. And we're at the Central Ohio Bushcraft Gathering. It's been a lot of fun. I know that I'd never met you before, and we've had some pretty cool conversations around the fire, and also not around the fire. But and there's a bunch of really cool people here. There's a lot of interesting people. There's some weirdos. I'll be honest about that, and I will put that straight on video. Jamie Burley's around here somewhere, and but these sort of gatherings really are. I mean, this is what it's about. Right?
Yes,
it's getting out and using the stuff. Not
in the end, it's about the people.
Yeah, it's about the people, and so you've got people that are looking for high quality gear with great design features and industry standard techniques and materials, so that we can get out here and buy a product that's going to last a long time, so that you don't have to buy another one.
Yeah, correct.
So, but if if you make such a good product, then aren't people only going to buy one of them?
Hey, that's my preference. That's why I'll continue to ask people what are they wanting, what are they missing, and if someone buys 5 of my things and they don't ever need to buy another thing from me, hey,
you did your job.
I did my job. My job is to equip people.
But you're also going to get the word of mouth, because people are going to be saying, "Hey, man, this thing's been lasting for years." And
exactly. Back to what I was saying about that German designer and his 10 rules. One of his 10 rules is good design is eco-friendly. To me, that means it's going to last. You're not going to be buying this and chucking it 5 times over the next 3 decades. This is going to last you for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, rather than some lightweight nylon thing that zipper's going to bust and you're going to chuck it.
Well,
buckle's going to break.
I had noticed yesterday that what you're wearing here looks an awful lot like my Patagonia R1, and one of the things that I don't want to be a fanboy for Patagonia, but one of the things that I love about Patagonia is that they've got a truck driving around the country doing repairs, not just on Patagonia stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you bring some Patagonia stuff and you happen to have a North Face or whatever that needs to be fixed too, we're just going to do it because they stand behind. In fact, I don't know if you remember. Patagonia years ago, I don't remember how long it was, had an ad campaign where they told people not to buy this product.
I do not remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was the newest edition, jacket or whatever. And in their ads, they told people, don't buy this product.
Okay.
Because their whole thing was, dude, if you bought one last year, there's no reason, don't. Now, of course, there is a little bit of reverse psychology I think involved in that, but to have a company that, part of their philosophy is being eco-friendly, like, what's his name again? The German fella?
Dieter Rams.
Yeah,
Dieter Rams.
And that this is part of his thing is, I mean, don't you think we need more companies that are being... We're out here in the woods. We love nature. We want to preserve it. We want to do things that are eco-friendly. As my sister, she always gets on me about getting straws because I'm killing sea turtles every time I go to McDonald's or wherever and get a straw. So I had to get a titanium straw so that I can save sea turtles. Right?
Yeah.
And people are becoming increasingly, I think, I've noticed, more passionate about things like that. She just got reusable Q-tips. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I think.
You just use it. It's like
an ear spoon or different?
No, it's more like a silicone sort of thing, and you stick it in there, whatever, and then
like
you
a
just.
brush.
No, it's kind of like. I think it's more like one of those old school wooden. Honey dipper things that's got the grooves and stuff, and you put it in there, do your thing, and you just wash it. Rather than throwing out all these Q-tips. Anyway, we kind of got way off on that. But
another example of a brand that is big on the sustainability and eco-friendly through durability. I saw you have a Wiggy's bag over there.
I do, yeah.
Yes.
And there's another one over here.
Yep,
yeah.
yep. I use a Wiggy's bag. I hear story after story after story of last,
He doesn't want you to buy another
years
one.
Years.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Right. No, and that to buy good stuff that's going to last that long sometimes comes with a price tag.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's heard the expression, you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, the zipper on those. It's a big, fat YKK, like number 10 zipper. 95% of the sleeping bag that's here today, skinny ass little zippers that are going to bust, and they bust.
Well, the Wiggy's guy, sorry man, I don't know your name, but
Jerry Wigelow.
He did a video on that where he or maybe he was on his website where he was talking about how everybody used to use these bigger zippers, and then everybody went away from it except him.
Yeah.
Just like, well, why would I change when this is the best zipper out there?
Exactly.
And why is it that all these other people aren't still doing it?
Exactly.
But no, I just recently got that bag, and that zipper's impressive.
They are.
That's legit.
They're harder to catch, fabric in. They're harder to clog. They're harder to break.
I haven't had it catch once.
And even if it does, it's not tiny little teeth that are.
It doesn't get all. I remember when I was I was in Boy Scouts, but we were doing a camp out where we invited some of the Weeblos that were going to be coming over to Boy Scouts to come camp out with us. And this one kid, I still remember his name, I'm not going to say it on film, but he was up crying all night because his zipper got stuck and he's freezing. And it wasn't until I spent about half an hour to just undo the thing for him so he could finally go to bed and be warm. That would never happen with a zipper like that. But how much more are you going to pay for a zipper like that?
At least $10. $5, yeah.
And is it worth every penny of it?
And one of the big things is weight. See, because we gotta chase this gram weenie mentality.
Yeah.
At a sacrifice of reliability.
Gram weenies. You said it. And this is not ultralight stuff.
No, this is 1000D, 500D, quarter nylon.
And it's got the word tough.
Yeah.
Right in the name. Now it's spelled wrong, by the way. You're gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, TUFF.
The TUFF, Tuff Possum. But I wouldn't imagine that's. I got the belt, the pouches, and one of the things that I explained to you earlier, I really liked about it. I needed to get something out of the back. I leaned over. I can grab the zipper, I can get in there with my hand, I can zip it all with one hand, which frankly, I don't have another belt pouch that can do that. I've got a lot of belt pouches, but I do not have one that so easily I can get in and out of as this one. So as soon as I saw it, and I saw you using it, and like, well, wait a minute, I need to see that, I need to try it, and then I bought one, and you know what, I'm not going to have to buy another one for a long time.
Yeah. Exactly. And I've seen some out there that are, super light ripstop nylon, little thin zipper.
Dyneema, or what's the Cuban fiber?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And while they may weigh like a ½ ounce,
you can make them out of Tyvek.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not gonna, you're not gonna get that nice, open and close with one hand, it's gonna sag like a wet bag. And on the flip side, I've had a few ultralight backpackers, quote unquote, because it means so many different things these days.
It does.
Like, hey, how much does this weigh? Oh, I wish it was 2 ounces lighter. It's, I think, 3 or 4 ounces, 3 ounces, something like that, 3.5. But, so you gotta figure out where you are on that mentality, figure out what your goals are, really.
Philosophy. There's a context for everything. I recently did a haversack video, and I started off just by focusing in on, well, what are you using it for? I'm going to do a haversack loadout video. Well, what's it for? What is your philosophy of use? Why are you putting the things in there? Why is it important to use this bag versus another one or whatever. There's always and nothing happens outside, in a vacuum.
For sure.
And it sounds like you have narrowed in on more than one market for this.
Correct.
Which is kind of a brilliant thing. It's not just bushcrafters, it's not just EDC, it's not just travel, but any which way, you can go in and out of all of those different contexts. It's going to look good, it's going to hold up, it's going to do what you need it to do.
There's nothing new under the sun.
No.
And if something is going to perform well in this set of harsh conditions, I mean, not this here, because we're, sitting on nice pine needles and camp chairs and the like, but, the back country, right?
Right.
There's also a very harsh environment if you're, sleeping in an alley somewhere on the street,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
And so, if something is built to where it can withstand one, it seems to reason that it should also, to some extent, actually perform well in the other as well. That's my philosophy of, a design philosophy of mine.
Well, you also gave to me, yesterday I was asking you a particular question, and you basically gave me what I would look at as your mission statement. And you seem pretty prepared to give a very definitive statement about what you and Tuff Possum Gear is all about. Do you remember what you said?
I don't remember exactly what I said. I'll tell you what it boils down to. Life is adventure, and there's adventure in life. People need things that they can rely on, that are trustworthy, to equip them to better enjoy that adventure, to be able to focus on what it's really about, on this community experience and living. So I'm equipping people for adventure. Whether that's the adventure going, your commute, there's adventure in that. There's adventure in hiking on Machu Picchu, probably butchering that pronunciation because I was homeschooled. But
did you see my socks from Machu Picchu?
No, I didn't.
No, check these out.
All right.
Sorry, I just interrupted your mission statement.
No, that's cool.
You started talking about Machu Picchu. A good friend of mine brought these back. These are from some grandma at the bottom of Machu Picchu. Alpaca and they're double lined.
Oh, dude.
So these will come apart, right?
That's soft.
So I've never washed them either.
Yeah.
Because these are only for sleeping.
I've got some camel. I think it's camel hair socks from
nice.
Mongolia on.
Really?
That my uncle brought
That's
back
awesome.
to me, and it's like a cloud on your feet. Some of those more alpaca and camel hair.
You know what? This does tie right back in. You buy good stuff.
Yes,
right?
Exactly,
It's gonna. I mean, these to me, not only because of who gave them to me. She hiked up Machu Picchu and thought of me to bring me these socks. These are a cherished item.
100%,
these.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, you've got a story with those. You've got love.
There's a human connection there. Yes.
Right.
Yes. One of the reasons, besides some of the ethical and geopolitical and supply chain and quality control issues of keeping things in the U.S., one of the things important to me is I like to be able to drive within a few hours at least to the factory, meet, shake the hands, give a hug to the people who are sewing these, whose hands are creating what this is, so that chain of human connection is there. It's very important. I think it's a valuable thing that's lost a lot in today's world.
You mean you just don't go on to Amazon Prime and?
Oh, I'm guilty of buying enough stuff on Amazon Prime because I'm 21 years old and I live in the first world. But
so did you get anything for Prime Day?
For Prime Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought some protein powder.
Did you?
From a company up in Maine, Origin, Maine. They make some good USA-made stuff. Yeah.
That's all you got?
Yeah, that was all I got.
So Prime Day for me, I got two more companion HDs.
Okay, there you go. Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reason why is because I always end up giving them away.
Yeah.
So when they're on sale, I'll buy extras because.
I'll be honest, I have a decent amount of money. Not as much as some people. Invest in knives and custom stuff, right? reach for more all the time.
They're so good.
They are.
They're so good.
They are.
And the open owls too are just amazing, and they're cheap. I told you my open owl story. So this is back. We share some common history regarding how we got interested in the bushcraft and all that sort of thing. So before I ever knew the word bushcraft, I was in Paris, France, and I looked at a vending machine, and in between a Snickers bar and a bag of Doritos was an open owl number 8.
Oh, that's badass.
In a vending machine, it was like $3 or $4.
Yeah.
You know, francs or this. This is actually before the euro was standard.
Yeah.
Right? So you could still, like, euros existed, but you still had, you know, French francs. And it just in a vending machine. That's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I got my Swiss Army knife in Geneva, Switzerland.
Okay.
I bought a switchblade outside of the Leaning Tower in Italy.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, those are, you know, if I'm going to get a memento of the different countries, I've got a machete, a Tramontina machete that I got in Manaus in the middle of the Amazon.
Right on.
In Brazil.
Right on.
You know, like, so, but to see an open owl in a vending machine,
that's just cool.
It's just the coolest thing.
Yeah.
But, no, that's awesome. It's been so cool getting to know you, and I had no idea that you lived, you know, so close, or that you would even be here.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's been a lot of fun, and I hope that your business goes very well. It's all tough stuff.
Thank you.
It's in the name, and it's neat. It's neat for me to see younger people too being so ambitious about. So I hate to tell you, you live in a throwaway culture.
Yes, I do.
Right?
I know it.
And your stuff is not stuff that you want to throw away. Your stuff is stuff that's going to last, and that's an impressive thing. And it's been really cool to see that.
Right on.
Thank
I appreciate
you
it. You betcha. My pleasure.
Thank you.